Uh, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Dan Beiers. Beiers, am I saying that right?
That's right, Beiers. Yep, you got
Awesome. From the band Khemmis. How are you, brother?
Good, all things considered.
All things considered, you're nice and locked in.
Yep. It snowed about 6 inches here yesterday, so it made it a little easier to be locked in.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
You're living in Denver, right?
Yep.
Snowing in Denver.
I know. It was like 40 degrees below the norm yesterday. So it's been really weird weather this week.
Do you think that has to do with the people not being out and the pollution and all of that?
Oh, I doubt it. Although it's really, even after like the first week, and where are you, in LA?
LA, yeah.
Yeah. After the first week in Denver, because we're in the valley of the Rockies, we have this kind of nasty brown cloud that hangs over the city sometimes. And after like the first week or two, it was like completely gone.
Nice.
So, but no, I mean, I don't know, man. Weather's been weird. We set a record low on Monday of 15 degrees. It was the coldest Eastern 90 years. So
that global warming's a hoax, man. Look how cold it is.
Yeah, right. I know, exactly.
It's so crazy thinking about all the different things that are happening in the actual world. Because you get caught up in your world of music, I'm sure, especially when everything was normal, you were in your tour cycles and then press cycles and, getting everything ready. So you kind of get in your bubble, but then you realize, like, yeah, the planet is kind of going through a flux right now, I think.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of one of those people who are always hyper aware of everything that's wrong all the time. and honestly, I know shit, man, in a way, I know this sounds super backwards, but in a way this has been kind of a relief. Because it's taken my mind off of, some of the social struggles that we have in this country and issues with leadership and politics and of course the environment and, even things like how my kid interacts with her friends and what the dynamic at school is. All of that stuff just weighs on me super heavy all the time. And this is kind of relaxing. Because now I have to focus on, what's happening inside the house and am I working? And, my focus has become a little bit more like insular than I'm not looking at, because it's like, whatever, I can't worry about what some, jackass is saying in the press today, because I have to, eat and work and, and stay away from people or whatever it is.
So it's a good reprieve for a person like yourself that it's always super hyper aware. Like me, I used to watch the news. I used to read Twitter every day and just kind of, oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Then it got to the point where I guess I had like a gauge of maxing out. Like I was like, nope, I'm done. I really can't do it anymore. And I had to disconnect completely. I don't watch the news. I don't really care. I see whatever people post on Facebook. And I don't believe what
don't read the comments.
Yeah. I don't even believe half of the stuff people post because it's all like they just post it without reading it. They're just, it's like a headline or clickbait headline where it's like,
right,
oh my God, this is killing you. And then you click it and it's like, well, I killed one guy.
Yeah. Someone OD'd on broccoli once.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm the same, man. I really am. I used to be even more involved. I would get I'd get subscriptions to The Economist and read about global political and social issues. And then I had to scale back from that. And then I would watch the nightly news, Dateline or some nightly news program or whatever. And then I had to scale back from that. I don't even have social media. I killed Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I got nothing. And I'm still overwhelmed when you just can't hide from it. Everything is wrong, man. Weird. Anyway, I'm going down a very dark road.
No, look, it's not
dark times.
It's not dark. It's stuff that we need to talk about because the best way to address it is to confront it, I guess, not kind of just blindly avoid it like I've been doing some of the times, but it's just a careful balance. You gotta have some of it to kind of be aware, but also can't let it overwhelm you and
Right.
kind of dominate your life.
Right.
Before all this craziness, you guys put together a little EP, right? A little
Yeah.
live doomed heavy metal
Yep. Out today, believe it
out
or not,
today.
which it feels very anticlimactic. I got a text from Ben. He's like, "Happy album release day." And I'm like, God, it's so weird because I think it was originally it was supposed to happen on Record Store Day, which I don't know if was supposed to be today, but obviously they canceled it or postponed it a long time ago. So the release was supposed to coincide with Record Store Day, and that was going to be this big thing, like, oh yeah, we're releasing record on Record Store Day. So it's still cool. I mean, I'm happy it's out, and I think people need new things in this kind of under these circumstances. So I think it's good timing in a weird sort of way, that it's coming out. Maybe a lot of people sitting at their desks, so maybe they'll they'll give it a listen.
Hey, I mean, it worked. The first thing I did when I got up was put on the new video you guys put out, the little visualizer. I forget the name of the song. It's I'm looking it up right now. Conversation with Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put that. I blasted that in my living room. My wife's like, "Really?" Yeah.
I know. I wish I had. We got some records from $20 Spin shipped, but they haven't arrived yet because I'd like to spin it. But yeah, it was kind of a bummer. Again, I was like, man, if I did, the record's out, but we don't have it.
Right.
So, yeah, but he is sending us some, so that's cool.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, it is a bummer about Record Store Day. It's something I look forward to every year. I go out and I it's one of the few times where I withstand the drudges of society.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Go stand in line and like, oh God.
Same.
I hate it.
Avoid crowds.
Yeah, I hate. Look, I'm Cuban. I hate standing in lines. It's like it's one of those things we don't do because we used to have to do that for food.
Right.
In Cuba, so it's like, nah, I don't like lines. But Record Store Day is the one of the very few things. Like beer releases, I can't do lines for beer releases.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're dropping this cool double IPA tomorrow, and there's a line across the block. I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm walking right past it. Or thankfully, I can. I'm kind of blessed that I know a lot of people, so I just like make a text like, hey man, I'm walking in the back of the brewery.
Yeah, right.
Get me a 4-pack, please.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that. And it sucks because it also happens with concerts now. Like as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten out of the mosh pit area. Like I used to love it. I used to go every show. It was the pit. So I want to go and feel it and get in the face of the band and like, but I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I get
tired. I'm the same. The closest I get to the stage is when I'm on it. Like you said, I mean, the other thing too is, you've done it. And if I don't think there's any shame in like, not being on the floor, not getting blasted by the amplifiers, because it's not a new experience. Once you've collected, hundreds of those, then it's okay to like find where you're comfortable and just do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I guess I'm still compelled to like run up there and get stepped on,
It depends on the band, right?
Yeah, the last Graveyard show, and I had seen them a few times, and I don't know, something about it, my right mixture of beer and compelling music, and I was up there, man. It was fun.
I can't remember the last time I moshed like that. It was maybe Every Time I Die, I think was the most recent one, because they're just one of those bands. I've been there from the beginning, and there's like, I'll fight it too. I'll be standing, I'm like, I'm not going in there. Not going in. And then they'll play one song where my brain just goes, hey, time to run and get hurt.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, I'll usually do like front of house for a couple songs just to see how, because I appreciate like the work that everyone's doing, not just the band, but like the sound guy. And I just want to see all of it from out here. And once I get like a couple songs in, I'm like, okay, you're doing a good job. Then I could just move around and like I'll do side stage or something, or maybe, I'll keep floating through the back of the crowd just to avoid the pits and the chaos, man. It's too much.
No, I get it. No
I
shame
miss
in
it
that.
though now with this whole quarantine.
Oh, I know. I think I'm supposed to be. We took it off the calendar, so I don't remember the exact dates, but I think I'm supposed to be in Germany, like playing a show.
Right
If
now.
not, if not now, in like the next couple days.
Ah, man, that's
Isn't
a
that
bummer.
crazy?
Have you guys done Europe before?
Yeah, we did. What did we do? It was just in November. We were there for 10 days, and it was all Germany and Holland. Yeah, it's just how the tour worked out, and because we didn't have a ton of time, so they just like, okay, here, we're gonna play these and Berlin and whatever, and so it was kind of cool because we got to go. We saw pretty much all of Germany. We didn't even get too far south, strangely, but so anyway, we did that, and then a couple years earlier, we had done Roadburn,
Mm,
also in Netherlands. So
yeah.
and then we played a festival in Leipzig. So we've only played Netherlands and Germany. It's so funny.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, beer and mushrooms, right? Isn't that the
Yeah.
whole?
Oh, dude, it's killer. Trust me, I loved it. And this tour, we were venturing out a little bit more, and the tour was supposed to end at Desert Fest in London,
Mm,
which we were so excited. I mean, God, playing London, huge festival, all those cool bands. I can't believe it. It's when we found out we were doing it, we were in Germany and talking to our European agent, and I was just so stoked. It's for some reason that fest, like if you could do the back to back, and we couldn't for whatever reason, but Desert Fest London and then fly to Berlin and do Desert Fest Berlin. It was like, man, that's the coolest heavy metal shit I can think of. And
yeah.
didn't happen. It's off.
That's a bummer, man. Do you feel that maybe, like, and I know this is probably a weird question, but I just, as a human to human, like that's how I would feel. I'm worried that once we all get back to normal or whatever normal is,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's going to be any kind of having to build back up, or do you fall right back into that, like, level where you were?
The band or
The band itself,
or
like, do you have to, like, you go right back into that tier of festival headlining, or is this something that everybody's going to have to, like, and not just you guys, but like I said, me too, or anybody they have to start rebuilding and doing little club shows to work their way back up to the festival status?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the band will necessarily, how do I answer this? So I think all crowds are going to be generally smaller. So, obviously we weren't headlining Desert Fest, but whoever
Right.
it was. So yeah, so I don't know that you can really build the audience like any more than it's just going to kind of naturally occur. I expect when we go back over to Europe, which I think we were slotted to go in October for another tour. I don't know
Right.
if that's going to happen. We'll see. But, I expect the crowds to be smaller. I mean, it's a new norm, and people have there's still going to be some fear of getting sick. There's still going to be some fear of the bigger crowds. I think people are going to have adjusted to not going, and maybe someone who thought it was so important to them will find out that it's maybe not as important. So I think there's going to be a huge adjustment period, and I'm not sure it'll ever get, well, it's probably, I think it'll probably someday get back to the levels that it was at, live music. But I don't know when that's going to be. I don't think it'll be. And again, I'm not a scientist and I've never lived through a pandemic, but I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it's going to take some time to normalize. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it because heavy metal as a whole in general it took time for it to kind of rebuild, because there was a time period where metal and rock and all that was kind of dominating the trends, and they were on the radio. This is obviously like the new metal days or whatever, but it took a while for, like, there was a big drop off where people stopped going to shows
Mm-hmm.
and stopped buying records because people were streaming and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt like it was kind of rebuilding. There was more sold out shows. There was more, things happening. And then now this kind of like stopped everything.
Hmm.
So I'm worried that that momentum of that, we were heading in an upward trajectory for rock and metal, that people were open to going to shows and coming out again.
Right.
Now I feel like it's another stop to that, and it worries me. I
Yeah.
hope not. 'Cause I'm also going to be hesitant to go out even after they say it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be worried, of course. I don't want to, and I think we're gonna go through like at least a whole year where face masks are like fashionable.
Hmm.
Everybody's gonna be wearing them
Yep.
at concerts. So
Yep. No, I feel you, man. I mean, I'm worried too, but I'm also just worried. Maybe isn't the right word. It's more like I know it's going to be different. I'm probably not real comfortable with how it's going to be, or shouldn't say comfortable. I'm probably not really like excited or happy about what it's going to be, because I know it's not going to be like as good,
mhm.
but it's just going to be different, and I think it'll be different. Um, it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for musicians. It's going to be different for fans. And I agree with you. It was about kind of this. First of all, I think we just have had a surge of excellent bands, in the last 5 to 10 years, that maybe hasn't been as strong as a previous decade or even two. But because of that, again, I think fests were getting bigger, better. I think even, concerts, regular shows, tours, all this stuff, bands that are like our level can sell out a town in, or can sell Cleveland or something,
Mhm.
which honestly, like you said, that probably people probably wouldn't have guessed that,
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be like that anytime soon,
Mhm.
and it's a shame because it's hard, as you know, to make any semblance of a living as a musician. And by hard, I mean, it's like basically impossible unless unless it's not, like, so, you know what I mean? There's like this
Yeah.
line, like you're not doing it and then you can. And when you're in that line is way high up there. So
Yeah.
that's really unfortunate because I know, I'm pretty lucky that I have a career.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't have to necessarily rely on the band for income, but it sure was nice, when things were going well, to have a little extra, and other guys in our band rely on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an adjustment and a difficult one. Fortunately for me, or fortunately for our band, not me, but everyone else in the band, we're the most educated band on the planet. So if there's jobs to have, I imagine one of the doctors, and even Zack, the beer guy, has a master's degree in English.
That's ridiculous, man. Zach's awesome. I've had him and Ben both. I mean, they're both homies.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, Ben's it's what's the word? Political science,
Sociology.
sociology. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. You guys have something to fall back on, but I'm sure there's a lot of I'm grateful as well to have work at home right now, aside from the podcast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would probably be doing this podcast from my cell phone, like under a bridge somewhere. like someone talk to me. Yeah, because it's nuts. I see bars that are closing, breweries that are losing a ton of money because
Yeah.
they can't sell kegs because the bars aren't open. And
Yeah.
some of the bars and restaurant here are selling draft beer in to-go cups, like
Yeah.
Pepsi cups. I'm just like, God,
Yeah,
I
dude.
know, I get that you have to get rid of it, but like,
I know. Carry out margaritas and shit. It's pretty. I mean, I guess it's resourceful. And one of my friends said that he had to carry out margarita the other day. I'm on like panic mode, right, with money.
mhm,
So I'm like, I'm not buying a margarita. I can buy, but I'll go buy 6 bottles of tequila and
mhm.
stock up for the apocalypse.
Yeah, dude, I did that 2 weeks ago. I went to the supermarket and I was buying these little. I found these really delicious. I'm going like the full brewer mode right now, where like a person that brews their whole life, that they don't really drink beer, they're drinking cocktails.
Hmm.
And it took me a while to get there, but I'm finally at that point where like, whoa, wow, cocktails. And they have these like premix ones that are actually good now. It's not just some like gross like MD 2020 or Four
Right.
Loco or something.
Yeah.
But there's like High Noon is one of them that I really like. They're like they come in these Red Bull shaped cans, and it has no sugar, no nothing, and it's just vodka and grapefruit juice. I'm like, wow, and it's delicious. Like,
Nice.
yeah, but like I was buying those, and then like 2 weeks ago I went and I got like a gallon of vodka. I'm like, what am I doing? This is like way cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's
Get
just
some
make these
grapefruit
at
juice.
home. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I'm trying not like right now I'm working because I work in construction basically. Is that what it is? Yeah, vodka and grapefruit. I do engineering and drafting. So I have a project going on right now and it's like go go go. They're still building stuff. And so I'm super busy. In fact, we'll probably talk about it more later, but I've been working like crazy. But my backlog is gone. So I honestly think I might have like 2 more weeks of work and then I have nothing.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so to your point, like I'm trying to be pretty responsible with my money. We don't even like we've been doing takeout once a week, just really honestly just to like contribute a little way to our local restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
But for the first 2 or 3 weeks we didn't do it at all.
Yeah.
And then some of our neighbors are like, well, they got to eat too. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. So we decided to do it once a week. But yeah, I'm kind of hoarding money because I don't know how long it'll be before I can get back to work.
Yeah.
Outside of Amazon or the grocery store,
Right.
which, not looking forward to doing.
Yeah, I have a few friends that work at like stage hands or tour guys, tour manager, road crew, that have to get go to work Amazon warehouse, 15 bucks an hour, I wouldn't want to do that. I would if the situation called for it, but thankfully I don't have to do that right now. But yeah, I started recently like taking little adventures. There's a couple spots that are good friends of mine that Grill 'em All, for example, out in Alhambra.
Yeah,
they're awesome. They make like metal themed burgers and all that.
I've seen them on TV. It's on my list. I have a list of like when we go on tour, places to go, and I'm like, nice. I gotta go to this place.
Yeah, it's they had a food truck. They were on that food truck race, I believe, right? For food.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, obviously that name stuck with me.
Yeah, that's how the whole thing started. It was a food truck, and they did the challenge thing, and they won, and then they opened up the brick and mortar with that money. From the contest. And yeah, I take everyone that visits there, man. It's like, all the bands and, we had, myself and Josh Barnett had come up with a burger to celebrate his pay-per-view that was happening in April.
Oh, cool.
So it's like the War Master Burg had like had fried pickles, cream cheese, ghost pepper cheese, jalapeno candied bacon.
Oh wow!
And I think and barbecue sauce made with Josh's bourbon.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Obviously, it's kind of like epic mealtime where like what crazy shit can we come up with?
Yeah.
But we did that, and I was gonna do a show at Grill 'em All with some guests and watch Barnett's thing. All of that got canceled, but they're still open and making food. Yeah. So I have to go out there and get a burger and support because they're doing all that. They're still open. There's a pizza joint around here as well, Fourth Horseman, that's still open doing food. So I don't know. I think it's helping people be more creative. A lot of musicians that are out of work right now have been suggesting that they like go on Twitch.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and start streaming yourself. You could do it with your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get up there and you just start doing your own songs. You just do playthrough videos. Like, hey, today we're doing this one, and you play the song and you interact with the fans. You're talking to them. It's an experience that people will, and then they'll, you put a little donate button and people will donate money to you.
Is that what Twitch is? It's a donation thing?
Sort of. It started off as like a video game streaming platform where like people can play their game and then stream themselves playing it. I don't know how that concept became so popular, but it did. And then, but musicians are doing it. Like I know Matt Heafy from Trivium does it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's how I found out about it originally. I was like, apparently he's really active. Like he'll do, and I'll watch some of his acoustic versions of stuff. I'm like, the guy's he's such a good guitar player.
Yeah.
And a super nice guy, by the way. I don't know if you've met him, but God, he is kind.
Yeah, no, I haven't met him in person, but we did the podcast, and super great. We talked about jujitsu and video games. I mean, very, very humbled and down to earth, like for a big band like that, you know.
Dude, to add to that, and I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but just to kind of give you some idea of like how humble and how cool this dude is. We were playing a festival. We were playing Heavy Montreal, and they have like these it's like a little campground of band trailers. And you get to your band trailer for, you know, your day whenever you're playing. And so we're there and we're like reading the names. We're like, oh, there's Sleep's trailer and shit like that, you know? So we're walking, Ben and I are walking out of the campground. It's not really a campground, but you get the idea. And and we see Matt and we're like, oh, there's Matt, you know, Trivium, they're big. And we're just kind of being cool. And he stops us and tells Ben, because you recognize Ben, you know, huge hair.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love the new record, man. I was like, holy shit, dude. This guy knows who we are. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not like super starstruck, like that kind of person. But, you know, Trivium's a big band. Yeah. And we were like we recognized him right away. But the fact that he recognized us and then stopped us to compliment us was like, shit, dude, that's super cool, you know.
That's a good feeling, man.
Yeah, most rock stars are way too cool for that shit.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, or they'll like, you know, don't be a fanboy. It's like, yeah, even I'm kind of like that, aggressive sometimes, but I get that. Like, you know, when you have someone that is they're not doing what you're doing, but they are, you know, it's a band and they're doing metal. And to get that recognition from peers, or, you know, someone that may be just a little bit at a higher level because they've, you know, done a thing or two, you know, like, it's a good feeling, man. It's a good
super
feeling.
Cool. Yeah. But not only that, it just kind of shows like the guy, you know, he's definitely in touch.
Yeah.
And then
he's up to date with good music.
Yeah, and he's not doesn't put himself on a different level. And you know, I just really respect that for musicians in general, but especially him. He's a nice guy. And then later, was it that festival? There was another festival. It was in Mexico, and we actually hung out with those guys, and they're very cool. And Paulo is from Chicago, where I'm originally from, or he lives in Chicago, where I'm originally from. So he comes out to our shows in Chicago now, and we've like become friends with them. And they're just really cool, nice guys.
Nice.
Trivium plug.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a lesson also, not to keep going back to the quarantine, but I guess we have to, because this is where we're at. But I think this is going to do that. It's going to humble a lot of musicians too. Some of these dudes that, you know, maybe walk around with a little bit of an attitude, or not really like, who are you, bro? Like, come on, I opened up for Metallica. You know, like, those dudes are going to get humbled now that they can't play their shows, you know. So hopefully that's a positive thing that happens, because that is really one of the coolest things, when you find out that someone at a, you know, decently elevated level can be down to earth. That's how the whole podcast started. Was Adam D was so down to earth from Killswitch. Yeah,
I was just going to say, you talk to a lot of kind of, you know, what I would call big time musicians, you know, in our world of underground heavy metal, at least, or even mainstream heavy metal. But so you know, I mean, you know that there's people out there that have that capacity for like humility, and then you know that there's some people out there who don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I want to talk to all of them though, because maybe I can help humble them a little.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, because some people give me shit and like, you had that guy on the show. I'm like, yep. Who cares, man? They're all human. Everybody's working on. Everybody has different opinions, but I want to hear about it. I mean, I'm sure some people want to hear about it, but it is what it is. I think that all of this quarantine stuff is going to help humble some musicians that are a little too high on the pedestal, that they, you know, are a little too egotistical. It's going to help them get like some of this mid-level, you know, lower tier bands try and get more creative, because if this is all you have, and you know, you're one of those bands that touring is your life. Yeah. You're making all of your money from tickets, you know, from guarantees from tickets and merch. mostly. Most of it's merch you're selling at shows. And now you kind of have to, even though it's weird how that works, like even though it's easier for you to just at home use your phone and order a t-shirt from Khemmis,
Right.
it just always feels better to get it at the show, right?
Oh, yeah. Not only does it feel better, but for us, it's everything.
Well, yeah, it gives you more money than having
Yeah.
to pay fees or whatever it is online.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, the guy who we have our online store with is real fair and treats us pretty good. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. If the fact of the matter is, in case listeners don't know this, for a band that this about Khemmis level, whatever band you like and however you want to rate us or whatever, but whatever level we're at, if we didn't have merch, 9 shows out of 10, we'd make negative money. That's that's
it's negative money because gas.
Yep, gas, food, lodging,
Yeah.
and even the costs of merchandise to begin with, and then records and stuff like that. The stuff that we're selling, we have to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, it's kind of funny because we honestly, just like every band, we evaluate like tour offers, and we're like, okay, how's this work? And I made a spreadsheet. Like, I'm the spreadsheet guy. Like, I made a spreadsheet though to really kind of understand our costs, and it's rough. It's expensive to get out on the road. So yeah, man, if people don't, this is part of the reason I'm so happy we always have kick-ass art for our shirts and stuff. If people don't support the band that way, it's a hard run for us.
Yeah, I mean, dude, merch is why I found Khemmis. I saw you guys. Well, I mean, also being there would help. But I was in Denver for GABF,
Yeah.
Great American Beer Fest, and it was my first one. Don't remember the year now, but you guys played at a bar nearby with a bunch of bands. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was Three Floyds.
And True, Surly, maybe yeah. That was a cool show.
I Hate God,
and maybe some Vike. Was it Amon Amarth or someone with?
No, it wasn't Amon Amarth. Their fucking productions.
Yeah.
Wouldn't fit in that room.
Who was it?
It was like a really weird, it was a weird
Soul.
throat singing, right? There was throat singing involved or something.
I remember there was like a Vike. Well, anyway, I Hate God was definitely the headliner because I remember they said it was a craft beer.
Yeah.
Week, right.
Yeah.
Craft beer sponsored event, and the dude from I Hate God was like, "Are you guys drinking that craft shit?" And he like had like a PBR or something.
Like you're playing a craft beer show, sir.
Yeah. Like, this is all I need, PBR or something like that. And I remember Nick, the owner of True Brewing, turned to Zack, the head brewer at True Brewing, and was like, "He's insulting your industry." And Zack's like, I don't give a shit. I'm just here to watch I Hate God,
Oh,
like.
yeah, dude. Yeah, it was funny, man, because we got to Denver, and I was working with Cigar City at the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we went to eat. I think that was like the first thing. My boss was like, "Dude, food." So we went to this place that had like really weird food, like noodles made from pig intestine, and you can do this traditional bone marrow luge where they bring out the bone marrow on the bone, something taps, or it has like a number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't recall. I don't know if that place is still around.
It might not be, but we went there. We had the weird ass food. They made me drink a whiskey shot through a bone marrow, like, bone thing.
Oh, dude, that sounds terrible.
No, it was great. I was like living the dream at that point. I'm like, oh my God. So from there, everybody was like, oh, we're going to go to the hotel. We got to set up the booth, blah, 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 blah. And then tonight we're all going to go to this like house and get drunk. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I love you guys, but we do that at home all the time. And get together in a house and get drunk. I'm going out, find out what's happening. And somebody was like, dude, Three Floyds, Surly, fucking True, and a bunch of bands. I'm like,
yeah,
let's fucking go. And you guys played. I got a sticker of a wizard who was drinking beer. It's on my laptop.
Yeah, I love it.
It's my laptop sticker.
I know. You're absolutely right. Like that piece of art was so good, and we've talked about it a couple times, but it's it launched everything, you know. And that guy, by the way, that's Sam Turner, who did our first shirt design, and he does all the art for True Brewing too.
Yep.
And their art's sick too. I mean, it's the same artist, but it's, you know, he just does a good job. And after that, you know, that the bar was set, right? Like, oh shit, we can't have bad art. Like, we gotta have, you know, we can't just do some dumbass black and white, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you dug it, and that's cool that that's how it, you know, it resonated with you.
Oh, for sure, dude. I saw that sticker. I'm like, this is it. I took it home. I put it on my work laptop. I put it on
The
my
Beer Wizard.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? And then I started Googling. There wasn't a whole lot out there at that time. You guys hadn't put out the first album yet. I believe Absolution.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that had,
yeah.
Yeah. And so I had a hard time finding stuff, but I still I kept that name going. And then afterwards, after the show, I think it was the next day of the festival. They were like, before we go to the festival, we're going to True Brewing. And we went to True, hung out, had a bunch of beers, and that's where I met Zack. And that's like, oh shit, everything clicks.
Yeah. And and then when I met you, you would come out to see us in LA on the Absolution tour, which was self-booked. Well, that show was really weird. Do you remember? It was at that the Griffin. It was at that really weird like lounge place.
Right. It was like a restaurant bar
with like bricks and arches and shit. It was really cool.
I think it was an Intronaut filmed the music video there.
Did they?
Yeah, they did a video for Fast Worms, I think, or one of those videos in that place.
I believe it. I thought it was a really neat space. That show, so we didn't have a show in LA on that tour. And that just came together where the owner's like, yeah, you can play here. You know, I can't remember, you know, there was no money. It was a no.
There was no stage. You guys were playing.
There was no stage, right?
Corner of the bar.
Right. But it was cool. You came out and you brought us a shitload of beer. I remember I don't know who you were working with at the time.
Modern Times.
Yep. Yep. That was really nice. We put it in the van, and that was, I think, one of the first times we got beer on the road. And now it's actually a pain in the ass. We get so much beer because of Zack. Everyone wants to bring Zack their beer, you know. They're like, oh, I got it. And we have so much beer. I remember one time we first went through the Canadian border, which was a stressful thing for us to begin with because I had a DUI years and years ago. And it was just super stressful, and we didn't know what was going to happen. But anyway, they're like, well, what do you have? You know, we're trying to drive through, right? Just trying to like talk to a guy at a window and drive in. Well, what do you have? You know, we have, you know, this, and we have some beer. Well, how much beer do you have? And, you know, at this point we had been on the road with Enslaved and Wolves. It was a big tour, you know, Wolves in the Throne Room. We had been on the road for like a week, maybe. We had Phil's talking to the customs agent. He's like, I don't know, maybe 200. Because we can't drink it all, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then Zack also brought a bunch to share with brewers along the way, you know, and that was for the whole tour, and it was a 30-day tour. So we were loaded up with beer, and they were like, what? Not really. They didn't really, but, you know, they were like, oh, okay. You know,
all right, 200, huh?
You guys are getting a party.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Yeah, Zack that night actually had brought me like a box full of True bottles.
Yeah, dude.
So he goes around the U.S. just like dropping off. Hey, man, try out the sour. I'm like,
he's so good at that. He's a real diplomat for beer and for his friends. He's a, you know, he I think he enjoys it, and it's reciprocated, and the band really, and he shares really well. I love that about him. You know, someone will bring him a really nice beer, their pride and joy, you know, and we'll get to the hotel and he'll be like, get some cups, you know, let's share this.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. He's the best.
That's how you got to do it, man. That's what attracted me to the craft beer industry for so long. I did it for 8 years or more than 8 years. And, you know, I've been out of it now for a couple, and the only thing I miss is that camaraderie, that like, let's get together and share, kind of also like, let's hook people up, you know, cause like beer geeks are like any other geek. If you're Lord of the Rings, whatever kind of geek you are, beer geeking is just that bad. So you'll hear people like, "Oh my God, I really want to try this Pliny. I've talked to like 10 people online, and I got to trade, and I got to, you got to go to like these other beer releases in your town so you can go get their beer and then put it in a box and ship it to someone in fucking Denver, just so you can just trade." But I'm lucky, and and as all other brewers are, like we have that we make it,
Yeah.
so you can share it, and it's that camaraderie of sharing, dude. That's what got me into craft beer in general. Just, being able to share things with people and see that joy. Because when you see a beer nerd taste that beer, that white whale that he's been after forever, and he's like, "Oh my God," it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Look at that great feeling.
It's super cool. I will say, I've been able to sit, I've been able to ride shotgun on that with Zack a lot, especially because I love beer and I rarely turn one down. So, I can't tell you how many times Zach's been like, "Hey, dude, you go out to the van with me." We'll go out and there'll be some buddies there, another brewer, and they'll bring a beer and we'll just, we'll stand out there and you know what I mean? And they're talking about what went into it, and it's really important for them to, talk about the process with someone who understands it, which is pretty crazy. I've never brewed beer in my life, but I guarantee, well, I definitely know more than the average person just through osmosis, Phil used to do a lot of home brewing too. So he and Zack would talk early on, and, so anyway, I think the craft beer culture is terrific. And I've yet to meet a real asshole, like everyone's pretty much good people, if your passion is beer. I'm sure you've run into a few, but
I see. Here's the thing. I used to say, that there's douchebags that are craft beer fans, or beer geeks that are douchebags. But I'm starting to look at it differently. I'm starting to think there are no douchebag craft beer nerds, but those douchebags that seem like they're craft beer nerds, they're really not.
There
not,
you go.
They're not there for the beer.
That's what makes them douchebags.
Yeah, they're not there for the beer. They're there for the clout or the Instagram. Gotta get it for the gram. Make sure you get that right picture. Check out that Pliny by the window.
Yeah.
It's you're not in it for the beer. You're in it for something else.
You see that? I went to GABF this year for the first time in a while, and honestly, there was lines for a few things that I really wanted to try. Breweries that I've been fortunately now I've been all over the country, and I've been to a lot of breweries because that's part of our thing. Breweries that I have tried, that I liked, that I wanted to see what was up, or maybe even, see if someone was there that I knew. So anyway, you're in some of these lines and people are taking pictures of each other with their little, and I was like, man, it's about the beer. It's not about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A beer, it looks basically the same,
Yeah, it's all piss yellow.
Here's a Morrison, which, by the way, this is a really good beer.
What are you drinking?
It is. So I want to clarify, all the beer I've bought since this thing happened has been true beer.
Okay.
And obviously the reason is Zach got to go to work and put that beer in cans, and someone needs to drink it. So also it's the best beer in town, so it's not a real hard thing. But this is a local, like super local, like 6 blocks. Flightco. Little place 6 blocks from here, and kind of the same thing. Like, I like them. I think their beer's pretty good. Hopefully they're not listening to this because that's not a great endorsement. But I like that it's right over there. It's a good atmosphere. The other thing is they don't secure their Chrome cast. So shit, they'll never listen to this. But so I can go in there. I've gone in there during this time of year. It's not happening now, and I'll cast baseball games to their TVs and sit there and drink their beer and watch my game on their big screen.
That's fucking great. I mean, that's
cool.
awesome.
So they sent a little coupon out, and I thought, I hadn't supported them, and I was talking to you on the Rock and Roll Beer Guy podcast, so I thought I should have a beer. And the cool thing is, they dropped it off. They're like,
oh, wow.
I'm like, I'm not going to get up there. I ordered. I'm not going to get up there tonight. I'm real busy. And he's like, well, do you live close? And I'm like, yeah, I live like 6 blocks from you. And he's like, I'll just drop it off on my way home,
Nice.
So
nice.
Good company, good brewery.
Yeah,
we had a lot of good breweries here.
Yeah, Denver's crazy. I mean, that's why it's the hub of, the JBF. It's just, and it's not just the breweries, but also some of the bars. Like, I know after packing up the booth, like everybody would head over to, what is it, Falling Rock?
Falling Rock, yeah. I don't know how that's between 50 and 100 of some of the best shit in the country.
And it's chaos. I mean, it's packed to the gills, and just like you can't even walk, and everybody's drinking, like spilling on each other. And I'm just like, it's whatever. We're covered in beer from the day anyway.
Right.
Like, that was the first. Well, not the first, but I got thrown up on at JBF. That was fun. It wasn't the first time, but I remember going. It was. I walked over to Russian River, their booth, and Vinny was there with Garrett Oliver, which is, if you don't know, Garrett's from Brooklyn Brewing. I had him on the show, and Vinny's from Russian River.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, we got some, fresh Pliny, which is, if you're not a beer geek, that's like a, rare beer. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll have some fresh Pliny, whatever. And I'm standing there talking to Vinny and Garrett, like, blah, 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 whatever. And this girl walks up, and she's like visibly wasted, yeah. Just like stumbling, like, what do you have? Like,
right.
They had, Vinny wasn't pouring beer. They had people. So one of the people was just like, well, we have this one, beatification or something. I'm like, that's a high percent, very sour beer. Don't offer that to that young lady. I was just like, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, no, that's not a good suggestion. She's like, whatever, yeah. And like, give me the one with the highest. And so they just poured her this insane sour that's like 12% or something.
Oh, dude.
And she just takes a sip, and immediately when she pulls the cup away from her mouth, projectile vomits. All over my leg, shoes, and I'm looking down. I'm like, those are the only shoes I have for the whole weekend, dude. Like, this is it. Yeah. And now I have to go to the bathroom and hose all this vomit off and walk around soaking wet. Like, there's no, what else am I going to do? Stand there by the air dryer, So, yeah.
You bring up a really good point, which is it's never convenient to be puked on.
Never. It's never good. It's such a bad. It's happened at a few beer festivals where I get puked on. I saw Andy. Do you know Andy Williams from Every Time I Die? The guitarist.
I don't know him. Yeah. I know who he is. Yeah, but I don't know him.
He and I were just chatting at one of the shows, and we were talking, and I just see him kind of go like this, like, and move his back around. He's like, "What the fuck?" And I look behind him, and there's a dude puking on him, like all over his back.
Oh, I don't know why.
I looked at him, I'm like, "What, dude? That dude just puked on you." He's like, "What the fuck?" And he just turns around and runs to the bathroom.
Dude. What the hell? I actually have been puked on at shows too, and it's never funny. It's always funnier when it happens to somebody else. I can just say that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I don't know if that person that puked on him was like just wasted drunk, or if maybe they were a little drunk and they were also a fan and they were like right next to him and freaking out and puked, because that happens too. Like the
nervous puking.
Yeah.
Oh, I've not witnessed that. Thank God.
Like, oh my God, I love you. I'm your biggest boop. I'm your boop, and it just
I guess so. I remember one of maybe the third show I ever played. There were like 50 people, and it was like Friday night.
Nice.
And I puked a little bit from nerves into a trash can. Yeah, before the show.
What's the biggest show now that you've played?
Oh, I don't, probably I'm saying like, oh, we're huge, but I mean,
a couple million. I'm just kidding.
it's hard to say like some of the festival stuff because like usually the
Right.
bigger festivals, they're not super crowded when we play because we're not headlining or whatever. But I know for a fact that when we opened for Ghost at the Fillmore in Denver, at least 3,000 people were through the door by the time we played.
Dude, that's and it's weird to say, but that's a good bill. Like that's a good combination of bands.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you think so. At the time, we're like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this. I mean, we were like, this is gonna be fucking cool. We like that kind of stuff, for sure. And we like Ghost was gonna be cool, and we knew it was gonna, be a good show for us. But yeah, it's funny that you say that because a lot of people are like, you and Ghost, like, I don't get that, but I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man.
I think I get it. I get it because of the clean singing that Phil does over kind of a groovy driving beat, which is obviously the band has kind of changed. Ghost has changed into more of a dancey, like ABBA kind of vibe, which is fine. I grew up on that shit. I love it. But the first record and the second record were kind of more heavy and like riff heavy, and you guys are more technical. You guys are more proggy, obviously. But I see it kind of like it matches because it's kind of like here's the like a nerdier version of what you're gonna see with Ghost. Like Ghost is a simpler, easier to digest, simpler, like not simple in a bad way. It's
it's like theatrical production.
It's a theatrical production, right? You're there for the show. You know what I mean? And if you care about the music, that type of music, but more evolved, more progressive, then here you got Khemmis. I think it makes sense. I don't know.
Cool. I mean, I feel like it went off pretty well. There were definitely a lot of like, young people who had no idea who we were, even though we were in their, we're from their city.
Right.
And they were like, what is this tuned down, slow shit? But, I think we won some people over, and it ended up being a really good show for us, and it was really fun and a really big crowd. We played a festival at the end of our last European tour, which I wish I could remember the name off the top of my head. I can't remember, but Zack got in the habit of taking pictures from behind the drum riser.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that crowd was pretty big. I don't know that it was bigger than the Ghost show, but it was big. So yeah, I would say a few thousand people. It's not the norm.
Yeah. Would you say you're obviously it's growing, obviously, but like it hasn't plateaued. Like it's still growing for you guys.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Europe was kind of interesting when we went in November because it was the first time we had actually like done a van tour in Germany. It ended up really being, and we're a little bit spoiled. Like we've been around the U.S. a few times now, and we are used to crowds and venue situations in the U.S. And then when we went to Europe, it was like we were talking about earlier. It was a little bit humbling, like. We're still a rock band trying to make it, and it was good. I thought I enjoy those things. I enjoy being able to connect with smaller crowds and see how they're affected by the show in a really kind of visceral way, and also like very present way. You play for 3,000 Ghost fans, you just walk off and you don't know, like 1,000 people could be clapping and 2,000 people could be flicking us off. You don't really know. But at the end of a show with, 50 drunk Germans, where you stand,
Yeah.
So that was, I thought it was a great experience for us. And by the same token, back to the original question, I expect that when we go back, well, now who knows? It's going to be different. I would have expected when we went back that the crowds would be a little bit bigger, that people who saw us wanted to tell their friends about us and wanted to bring them to the show and stuff like that. So reset, like you said, reset button probably on some of that, those expectations for sure. Yeah.
I would say it's a healthy thing to do that either way, regardless of what happens. Just reset your expectations when you get out of this whole situation.
Yeah.
Right? Because then if you go back to that level you were at or higher, then it's amazing, right? You've reset your expectations. You're like, fuck yeah, success. Or, if you go in expecting something and then for some reason it doesn't work out that way, like, crowds aren't going out, whatever it is, you're left kind of feeling down, and that mental health thing, and dealing with like, oh man, what do we do wrong, like what do we need to do next to kind of go back. So I say break those expectations, man.
I agree. And I was talking to someone from maybe yesterday doing this kind of thing. It was more of a short interview kind of format, but he said, oh, I just can't wait for things to get back to normal. I can't, he was talking about Psycho a lot. He was in Las Vegas and he was talking about Psycho, and it's still on tech right now, but who knows, and then he asked, are we going to do it if it's still on? What's the band feel about that? But my point of this is that he was like, oh, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. And I was trying to be cool. And I wanted to say, like, dude, forget what you think normal. It's not going to be the same, it's going to be different. There's going to be a new normal.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to bring him down too hard because he clearly was really he was really struggling with what was going on. And so I was like, okay, yeah, man, that would be great when it gets back to normal. So, but like you, I don't think normal is what we are used to. It's going to be different.
It's also not, when you think about it objectively, the normal we had wasn't good. It wasn't sustainable. It was crazy.
Right.
Not, and I know it sounds vague to say, but it's things seem to be progressing really fast, and that was affecting our planet. We couldn't figure out, like, what are we doing about the planet, and what are we doing about this, and social media, this, and then like the president's chaos and fire, and people that are like, the earth is flat, like it's chaos. You know what I mean? It's chaos.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. I actually do. I mean, on the bright side, it's weird to talk about the bright side. I know a lot of people don't want to hear about the bright side, but I do think that there's going to be, I was just saying there's a new normal, but there's going to be some like normalizing of things that were kind of out of control. And one like really easy example is like real estate prices. And I know obviously where you live, it's always been expensive, but in Denver, we had this huge disparity between what earnings were and what it costs to own a home. And, 900 square foot, 2-bedroom houses selling for almost $700,000 in Denver is pretty insane. And that's where we were, sadly, my neighbor decided to put his house on the market, 900 square foot, 2-bedroom, like 2 weeks into this thing. And I was just like, and he listed it for like this crazy price,
Right.
But, that was this really insane thing. And it was really hard for people because when mortgages go up, sale prices go up, then rents go up.
Mm-hmm.
And even, my Ben and Phil rent, and, their rent prices are insane. And so I think that actually out of the, landlords aren't receiving rent. People are not maybe buying new homes when they thought they were going to, all of this stuff is going to like normalize a little bit. And that's good. I think that's good. I mean, it was ridiculous and it was hard for people to live.
Yeah.
And so, I'm kind of crossing my fingers and we come out on the other end of that normalizes and it's easier for people to buy new homes or buy homes for their first home, or even just have like a good quality of life because their rent isn't all consuming.
Mm-hmm.
As a homeowner, that sounds stupid to say, right? Because I'm basically wishing that my property value goes down.
Right.
I don't fucking care. I just need a place to live. I'm not worried about the,
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at with the chaos, is that too, like it's a hot topic in politics. I don't get politically involved anymore, but you hear them talk about, income inequality and people not being able to pay. Like, I'm able to pay, thankfully, but I've been through some shit.
Yeah.
Like literal feces that I've had to go through to get to the point where I can pay to, like, me and my wife, we're very, or my wife and I, sorry, wrong. My
Your
my
grip
wife and
sucks.
yeah, man. My wife and I are fortunate. We make enough money to live alone in LA, which is unheard of. Because
Yeah.
I talked to so many people that were like, I live in an apartment building with 10 other people, because that's how it has to be, because it's so expensive. It's so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, so we're grateful that we make enough, and we found a decent enough priced location. But if we wanted to move, we're an hour away from our job, 45 minutes. If we wanted to move closer,
which in LA is only about what, 2.5 miles?
it's 12 miles. It's 45 minutes. It's insane. But so we were talking about, like, we would save so much money if we didn't have to make that commute every day, and time, obviously. So we want to move closer to the office, but everything closer to the office is like a fantasy. Yeah. It's not even a possibility. We're just like, oh, that's cute. Like, there's no way we can pay $3,000 for a 1-bedroom. Like, there's no way we can do that. So hopefully this kind of, like you said, normalizes pricing. Food seemed to be getting more expensive, and gas was blowing up. Have you seen gas prices?
No, because I haven't driven in 4 weeks.
Dude, I went out the other day for groceries, and the gas is, it was, before this whole thing happened in LA, gas was $3.49 to $3.80 a gallon. And now it's down to $2.30.
Wow.
Which is like, yeah, all right.
We're about $1 cheaper than you across the board, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I haven't, it's funny, my wife does the grocery shopping every 2 weeks. She masks up and goes and does it. And I literally have not really, what did I have to do? I had to drive somewhere. I had to get something big. Oh, you know what we did? We bought an exercise bike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's
Peloton?
No, not like, no, man. I play heavy metal. We can't afford that shit. It's been getting cold and we can't go outside and get any kind of exercise. And so, yeah, we bought an exercise bike. So the sporting goods store has, contactless pickup, delivery, whatever, so I drive down there, kind of like open the doors, get back in the van, they load the thing in, and out we go.
Yeah, man. That's how we live now. It's weird.
Yeah. You know what van I drove is that baby blue van that we had in LA when we first met you. That
van?
The Doom van, the 1978 Chevy.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. That's great.
Still going, yeah.
Does it still have that plate, the Doom van?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a collector. It's a collector vehicle plate, so every 5 years I have to renew it.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Doom van.
Speaking of, we were talking about ghosts earlier. This portrait up here. That's Ghost.
That's good. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
It's a bunch of dicks. It's Papa in the middle, and then there's like dicks and boobs around it. I can bring it closer, but.
No, I've been looking at it and not been able to make it out. I could see the central figure at the top.
Yeah, that's the Papa in the middle, and then there's a bunch of like they look like towers, but they're dick shaped. And then on the bottom, there's like little circles that look like boobs. But yeah, classy. I right behind it, I have another poster. So when my grandmother comes over, I just open the frame and switch posters. Oh, so I don't want to offend
Grandma.
But anyway, man, we've been talking for about an hour. I know,
and we have barely talked about the record, if at all.
Tell me more. Tell me more about the record before we do go. Fuck it. I have time.
Okay. So real quick, the record. It's
Doomed
3
heavy metal.
Doomed heavy metal. Yeah. So it's 3 live tracks, 3 recorded tracks. The studio tracks are kind of interesting. One of them we recorded for Decibel magazine for their Flexi series, and it was only available on Flexi. So a big part of this was to get some of these I don't know, rares or whatever, rare tracks out. So there's that. And then Conversation with Death that you mentioned earlier, we originally did as a B-side, or not a B-side, with a split with Spirit Adrift.
Okay.
And that's a really cool, like, old Appalachian dirge that we turned into a pretty doomy song. It's pretty cool.
That was a great song. Yeah.
I'm glad you like. Yeah, I think it's crazy, right? Some of the simplest songs that you do are like the heaviest, you know. So that one was super cool. And then we did a Dio cover, which has been pretty fun to talk about.
Rainbow in the Dark.
Rainbow in the Dark.
Fuck yeah,
it's a
dude.
Great song, and I'm really happy with our version, and I I hope the Dio lovers, worshipers are too, and don't like hate us.
Did you have to get did you have to do a bunch of legal stuff to release it?
Yeah, there's licensing stuff involved, which is why the release is kind of interesting. Nuclear Blast is releasing the digital form. They're like responsible for the digital release, and they've handled the digital licensing, which is different than the physical licensing. And $20 Spin, our previous label, you know, current, I guess, in the sense that this is out on that too. They had to do the physical licensing, and so they're doing the physical release. So if anyone listening wants to pick up the LP, $20spin.com, you know, he's still shipping records.
Hell
so yeah, and then the 3 live tracks on the other side we recorded as part of a 2-night event that we did in Denver. That was cool and grueling because we played 2 different sets over an hour each. We basically had to like know almost our entire catalog for this thing, you know, and we played everything. It was really fun. And the cool thing about the live tracks is it's one song from each of our first 3 albums. So it does a reverse. I didn't know what order they were going to be in, honestly. Like I'm not, it's not that I don't care or that I'm out of touch. I just, you know, I'm just the artist or whatever, you know. I'm just the bass player, but
that's an office inquiry.
Yeah, right. I didn't know how they were going to, I actually didn't know like, that Bloodletting, you know, where that would be because the song followed, whatever. But anyway, it's like reverse order. It goes from Desolation, Hunted, and then Absolution, and it just kind of, it's a cool release because in many ways it reflects all these points that the band has been, both in the live tracks and then, you know, like when we did the single for Decibel, it was like the shortest song we had ever written. And it was between albums, and we, you know, it was like we didn't know, we weren't going to rewrite Hunted, but we didn't know what Desolation was going to sound like. You know, it was just a really neat collection of songs, I think. And then, you know, of course, a cover from Dio is like something that you wouldn't even try to do if it was like on your first album, because you'd just be a pretentious dick.
Yeah. I mean, man, I don't know. The cover thing always, it was an interesting topic to me because like some bands do a really good job. Like Ghost is one of those bands, like they thrive on covers apparently. But there's some bands that don't do it right, and it just it could be it's such a weird shaky line, you know?
Super fine line, dude.
Super fine.
Yeah, because you have to make it your own without fucking up the original.
Right.
You know, and it's tough, and it's, you know, people ask us a lot in this whole process, you know, were you worried? And, you know, I mean, I really wasn't, which was probably ignorant of me, but, you know, you should be a little bit because you're performing somebody else's art, and you can't just copy it because you'll A, fail, but B, you know, it's just, someone would just listen to the original. Like, why, you know, so you have to make it your own, and you have to make it your own without destroying the original.
Right.
So it's a fine line. Like you said, it's like, man, don't cross that line, and you never know where you're going to come out on it. And with people, obviously with individuals, everyone has their own line. So like, I'm sure there's some Dio purists who are like, how dare they drop tune this song?
How dare? Why doesn't Phil do the falsettos?
Right, right.
It's yeah, no, I hear you, man. It's weird, and then it's funny. Like certain people, like look at Johnny Cash when he did "Hurt." I know people that think that's a Johnny Cash song now. Like they're like, man, I heard this cover by Nine Inch Nails. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. I used to know those people, and then I removed them from my life.
Oh,
the whole album is covers, right? He does Jesus Christ Poser. What's he do? He does a Soundgarden song too.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
Yes. No, but dude, you guys killed it with the cover. I listened to that one as well. It was that I listened to that one and the visualizer, and man, it's just great. I want the record. I mean, I have all the other records, so
Cool.
why not?
We'll get you a copy.
Yeah, dude. No, you guys always take care of me, and you know, I'm always more than happy to talk about you guys, talk to you guys. Like I remember, where was it that we ran into each other last? Was it Smokeout? Is that where?
I think it was Psycho.
Psycho? Was it Psycho in Vegas or was it Psycho in Smokeout?
Psycho Vegas, because I haven't been to the Smokeout one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And dude, by the way, speaking of like I hope it happens. I love Psycho.
I know.
It's such a fun experience.
It might just be too soon.
Yeah, it might. August is pretty close. I mean, I know they're talking about mid-May to open everything back up. So that if that happens, if like everybody decides quarantine's over May 15th,
yeah,
then August seems possible.
Yeah.
Not like at the level that we were with the previous Psychos.
Right.
But that might make it cooler because like whoever's there like die hard and it's more intimate, I guess. But those festivals are big, so we'll see.
Yeah. Also, for whatever it's worth, I wouldn't mind if they pushed it a little bit, only because it's so fucking hot in Las Vegas in August. I have no idea why they keep doing
that too.
Dude, it's so hot.
My first Psycho, I went and I didn't have plans for lodging. I just kind of drove. I'm going to Psycho, staying in my car.
Yeah.
And I parked inside of the Hard Rock and tried sleeping in my car, and nope.
No.
It's so hot, so ridiculously hot. And I was like, nah, I'll just not sleep. I'll just walk around.
Is that what you did?
Yeah. And then the second Psycho, Orange actually paid for me to be there, and like they got me a room and
awesome,
all taken care of. So that was great. But it was also insanely hot. Like I remember Sunday night after I did 20 something interviews, and then like Sunday night it was like you're off, you do whatever you want, and Red Fang was playing in the pool.
Yeah.
And I just took all of my clothes off and just ran head first into the pool. I'm like, yes,
that was good.
Water.
Good move, man. I went and we saw Weed Eater and Inner Arma at the pool at night when you think it would be cooler, just sweating like gallons. And of course, the only pants any of us had brought, all we had were black jeans. That's all you need for a rock show, right?
Yep.
So we played Friday, and then the outdoor shows, they were both great. Honestly, they were both really great. And we saw a couple other bands out there, but Weed Eater and Inner Arma stood out, and they were excellent. But I just remember when you can't focus on the music because you're so disgusted with the pool of crap that's going on, or sweat that's going on all over you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, this is fucking miserable. So we've been offered, actually, I don't think we've played it in a couple of years. The last two times we were offered to play, they were the pool shows, and fortunately there was some other conflict, and we didn't have to turn it down just on the merit of a pool show. But it was like, man, I do not want to play the pool. I don't want to play the pool either. God, I hope we don't have to play the pool, So it's hot, man. So October Psycho sounds great to me.
That would be good. If they would have pushed it to October, a little more chilly outside. Not chilly, but not as ridiculous.
Right.
That would be nice. I mean, I think they're worried. The reason that they like the summer, they like the pool thing. They like the people getting a suntan during the day, kind of like a resort, because it is kind of, you're stuck there for 3 days. Like you're not going anywhere. So you have to kind of do things like that.
Yeah. sunbathing metalheads, though. I mean, what do you get? Like, you get vest tan lines? Hey, come on. I mean, like, it's. I don't think it's that important to the metal community. Maybe other people, if it was whatever.
It's weird. It's a weird vibe because I know that, I know what you're saying. I know metalheads are not, sunbathing, kind of like tropical, but it is that, I feel like it is that one time of the year where you can be that way. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? Who cares? Put on some swim trunks. Let's go hang out by the pool and eat some edibles.
Yeah.
I did that too. I ended up doing that with Brent and Braun from Mastodon. I'm like, you know what? Let's just eat some edibles and go to the pool and just sit there like.
I bet you was that last year that when I saw you there, because I believe you introduced us to, to one of those guys at the bar. I was like, oh man! Again, that was one of those fanboy things. I didn't want to be a fanboy, and I don't think I was. I was so drunk, man.
That's the other thing. Everybody's drunk.
Oh God, this is me and Grant from In the Company of Serpents, a Denver band that is awesome. We drank for 16 hours. Jesus. It was insane, man. And by the time I met Brant, I guess from Mastodon, I was like just out of my mind. And I had already talked to Brian, what's his last name? Schlegel from Metal Blade.
Oh right, yeah.
We had been we had done all this Schlegel. Yeah. We had been doing all this band shit, and I was like mentally exhausted and wasted. And by the time I met this dude, I was like, "Hey, you guys are all right, I guess." That's true. I love that band. I love Leviathan so much.
Yeah, dude. Now that was a weird night because we ended up going out to eat with Alex from Orange, and things got weird.
I bet
things got very weird that night.
Things can get weird with Alex. I think he likes to get weird.
I'm so glad I was able to connect him with you guys too, because
made that connection.
Yeah, I brought him over. We were hanging out. He had brought me to do the interviews, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go see Khemmis. Those are my boys. Let's go." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he's like, "What are they?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's a fucking stoner music festival. What do you think they are? A pop band? Let's go." And we went and he just stood there, mouth open, like, "These guys are incredible." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, dude, you put that together, and now we all play Orange Amps.
Nice.
And it's worked great. And I've met Alex on a bunch of occasions. Saw him at NAMM this year.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This year, you mean after the quarantine?
No, NAMM happened in January.
Wait, you were there?
Yeah.
Damn it, man. I was there all day doing interviews, and I would occasionally pass by Alex and hand him my weed pen, and he hit it and then go back to work.
He was pretty wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a couple days, but it's fun. I've been actually the last couple years. I've gone with our producer,
nice.
Dave Otero. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, next year, if it, I'm sure it happens. By the way, I think I caught Corona. I was talking to my wife about it. She says no, because otherwise she would have gotten it. But I got really sick after NAMM.
I did too.
I was sick for 2 weeks, dead.
Yeah, dude, I had a terrible flu after NAMM too.
Yeah, it's so gross. It's so gross.
It is.
It's that recycled, people traveling from all over the world and just coughing everywhere. And, oh, God, it's a gross festival thing, or convention, not a festival.
Yeah, man.
I
should have thought, well, next time I'd like to go again. I think we'll go again, so, next year we'll catch up.
Hopefully it's around, and I go every year because it's always good, fun, homie hangs. I ended up up to 5 a.m. with the Deftones, just hanging out, just drinking out in my car, because we were at the bar and the bar was like, we're closing. I'm like, I have a cooler full of booze, so everybody just walked to my car, and I'm standing there, I'm handing whiskey bottles to the Deftones. I'm like, okay, I guess you're doing this till 5 a.m.
You're a good dude to we would have had some good fun. Although, I had fun. I always have fun. Who did we spend a lot of time with? Dave from Cattle Decap. We spent a lot of time with, because Otero, our producer, also does their stuff. He did some cool drum demos and stuff, man. That guy's an animal.
Nice.
Which is funny to say from Cattle Decapitation. But
Come
yeah,
on, man, it's not vegan to say that.
those guys are good dudes.
For sure, man. Well, dude, everybody listening, live EP, not all live, half live.
Mm-hmm.
Doomed Heavy Metal, out
Right.
Nuclear Blast Records, online, digitally, or pick up the vinyl, $20 spin. I'm gonna pick one up because I need to have. Yeah, I need to have it. I need to have that record. It's part of my collection. I have the beer splashed vinyl.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, dude,
I don't have that one.
It's back there. I have all my records, but yeah. I have the beer splash record. And I love you guys. It's your homies, your brothers. Big supporter of you guys. So if you're listening, please check them out. Get the albums. This is a tough time. People need you. We need you to pick up the albums. Until concerts open up again, like this is the way to do it. Support bands.
Well, also having records is fun, Yeah.
Yeah. It's much better to spin a record than have Google automatically play it for you on Spotify or whatever. Discover your weekly playlist.
I've been doing this a lot since we've been locked in, is playing records. Like I'll pick a stack, and now my wife's working from home, and she'll. So I got to kind of temper it a little bit, like because she doesn't listen to all the same shit I do. I'll like listen to some weird stuff, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good time to listen to vinyl.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, pick up the record.
Pick up the record, guys. Pick up the record.
I think it's fucking good, man. I'm really proud of it. I think people will enjoy it. So
yeah,
I'm really happy about it.
Very cool, man. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Stay safe and keep working. Are you guys working on music?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were just hitting our stride writing the new album when shit hit the fan and we decided not to get together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But we're halfway through probably with lots of ideas. So
are you guys emailing back and forth or?
Not quite to that point, although I think there'll be some of that. Phil did email me a couple he tabbed out what he was playing on a couple songs so I could kind of structure my bass line, Yeah. We did that right around the time when we all kind of went into quarantine. So, but I think honestly, depending on how long this thing lasts, it may become necessary to start flushing out ideas over the internet or over email. Normally we like to do it in a room, like, I don't know, how about this, how about this, that, maybe not, but what about this note? But it just, I think we're all anxious to get creating more. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. But I think we'll probably be writing via email here pretty soon.
Do it and call it Isolation so that it matches with Absolution and Desolation.
I know we have that song.
Yeah, just call the album Isolation or I can't call it Quarantine Nation.
Quarantined Nation.
Quarantine Nation. But yeah, dude, thanks again, man. And I'm glad to see you. Glad you're doing good. And hope the work stuff too, because you were saying you're running out of work. I hope you can figure it out. I think you should get on Twitch. Make that money. Make that Twitch money.
Flat bass.
Yeah. Just some Primus covers,
Yeah. Awesome, dude.
All right, man.
Yeah, no, it's great talking with you too, man. And you and your wife. I wish you, the best through all of this.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
For sure, brother. Take care. Khemmis, guys. Follow them. Dan Beiers.
Beiers, you got it. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.